Oh, this is blurry. Hi! Gosh, it's been so long. How are you doing? I'm doing awesome. Thank you for asking. Actually, nobody asked. It's been about a year since I've posted on here, but I'm going to start posting for real. I just thought that I should let you know where I've been because this is not my apartment. This is a new apartment, which I'll get into. But I'm gonna give you a rundown from January all the way down to October, maybe like even a little bit of December, just to kind of catch you up so that we can get to here and where I'm at and what I'm doing and what is all this and who is this in the back. I'm gonna tell you all that. So my last YouTube video, I was in California with my sister because I was doing an audition. I unfortunately didn't get that audition, but it's okay because you won't always get auditions, but it was a great experience nonetheless. Then December rolled around and I went back to Washington so that I could spend the holidays with my family. I was just kind of having like an epiphany out there. I feel like within this last year, I've had like many epiphanies, just kind of like realizations of things that I want to do in just life in general. I was like, you know what, next year you're turning 21. Like I really want this year to be different for me. I know I have a lot of potential in the things that I want to do. And so I was like, you know what, something's got to change, right? January rolls around and I decide that I need to leave my relationship that I was in for a lot of reasons, but I think more so because I felt like I just had to be by myself. I felt like I was very dependent on him and I just wasn't doing anything for myself, and I wasn't working at the time and I didn't have any friends, and the only time that I would spend was with him, and I just didn't feel like me. Like that's not me. I like people, I like going out and I like having fun, and I wasn't doing any of that. It was just like time for me to go, and so I left. January, I decided to walk away from something that I was a part of for about 4 years, and that was really hard, but it was harder being in it than it was leaving. I think I was only sad for like a second, and then I bounced back because I was like, wow, like while I was in it, it was just so much worse. And so I was like, you know what, like it's just time for me. It's time for me to go. So I left. And then January was just like, okay, so now what? Didn't have any friends. Just left the only person that I like knew, had no job. And I was like, we really need to get together and we need to start getting back into it, right? So what do? I go to the gym. I'm like, let me go to the gym. Let me start working out. I was like, that's the least I can do. I can go put my emotions into working out. And so that's exactly what I did. I got a membership at Crunch, and I was also working out at F45. So I literally, I don't know what I was doing during the day, probably nothing. I would literally go to F45, which is like a functional training group thing, if you don't know what that is. And then right after, since it was in the same plaza, I would go to Crunch and I would work on things more that I wanted to work on. And I was doing that every single day. Every single day I was working out. I like had a routine going and things were great. And there was one night that I was working out at Crunch and they were about to close, and the two dudes at the front, they were like making announcements on the mic. And I just thought they were so funny. And I was like, you know what? Like I like the vibe here. Like I might as well start working here. If I'm gonna work out here, I might as well start working here. I went up to the manager there and I was like, hey, are you guys, and they had a hiring sign like outside. I was like, hey, like, are you guys hiring by any chance? And he was like, yeah. He asked me a few questions. We set up an interview. I got the job. And in February, I started working at Crunch, which was great. I started to kind of like hang out with my friends more. My friend Carlos lived down the street, so I was hanging out with her a lot. And so I was just kind of like getting back into the groove of things and just getting back into myself and feeling more like myself and taking that time for me, like how I felt like I needed to. So in February, I think I was still in like this like limbo stage of wanting to like give all the love that I have to literally anybody that wants it, because I just really wanted to just get all this love out. I have so much love inside. If I like you, I'm gonna give you 110%, and that's still how I am to this day. But like in February, coming straight out of a relationship, any person that I liked, I was like leeching onto them. I don't think I realized that until a little down the road, but I literally was like texting so much and calling so much, and I'd have like the slightest interest in guys, but I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in love with you. Like I just like had all of these unresolved feelings that I was just kind of going through. I found myself throwing myself onto people so that they could just reciprocate what I wanted to be, what I was reciprocating to them so badly from people that I didn't actually want or kind of even want to be with, because I knew I didn't want to be in any type of relationship anytime soon, and I'm still not. Been single for the past 10 months, and a relationship wasn't what I was looking for, but I just wanted to like feel loved and wanted and cared for, and so I just was trying to love and care for other people so much so that I could just get that back and I could have that feeling back, and that was just not a good idea. Don't pour everything that you have into somebody else's cup and leave yours just empty, like not even a drop inside, because it will come back to do some damage to you. So March rolls around, and this was probably my worst month. Not even probably, this was my worst month of the year. I was liking guys, they weren't liking me back. I was feeling rejection for kind of like the first time because I was just giving so much and again getting nothing in return. Literally was just crying every single day. I didn't want to talk to anybody, but at this time I did start going out like to the club. I was drinking and it was great and I was having the time of my life, but I was also using that as a way to just kind of like escape how I felt altogether. And like when you get a little bit of alcohol in your system, you know, you feel good and everyone else feels good, and so that's what I wanted to do. That's what I was doing every single weekend. I was going out every single weekend, I was drinking every single weekend, and that's all I wanted to do. And the weekend, and then I would look forward to the following weekend. Like it'd literally be Sunday and I'm like, oh, can it be Friday night again? Because it's all I wanted to do, just so I don't have to feel any of my emotions. That was fun. When the alcohol wears off, when your high is gone, when you're not hungover anymore, like it's just like you're back to what you were feeling before. I didn't start realizing that until later. But March, I also kind of noticed that I was just like acting out. Like I was doing things that I wouldn't normally do, like just doing all these things that I just had no business of doing, and I just felt like yucky. I was like, you are literally terrible. Like March, I would go into the mirror and I'd literally look in the mirror and be like, nobody's ever gonna love you, you're actually terrible, like this is why you have no friends, nobody wants to hang out with you. Obviously, like words are so strong and your mind will believe whatever you tell it, and consistently tell yourself the same thing. At some point your mind's gonna believe it, and my mind was like, yeah, you're right, like you are so ugly, don't even think about getting ready for work and getting all pretty because regardless you're ugly. And I was journaling and I was doing all these things and I just still didn't feel like me, and it was just so bad. March was awful. I was like crying to my manager at Crunch and I'm telling him all this stuff. I was like, life is so hard, I don't even want to be here anymore, like it's just so hard for me to keep going and to go on when I have no drive and I have no ambition and I have no goals. Like I don't know what I want to do. And not that I think that not knowing what you want to do, there's anything wrong with that. At the time I was 20, so it's like you're not supposed to know what you want to do at 20 years old. People don't know what they want to do until they're like 30, and even then they still don't know. And then I was like, you know what, like something's got to give, like I got to get out of this, like this funk that I'm in, it's just terrible, like this will actually kill me, like I have to get out of this. And so I started a second job at a golf course. My friend Haley was working at a golf course. They were looking for somebody and I was like, you know what, like I should work somewhere else just to get a little bit more money. At this time I'd kind of put acting like on the back burner because I was like, if I ever want to move out and I want to pursue acting or just move out in general, I'm going to need money, and acting is so demanding. You could do an audition and then you book the job and they need you tomorrow morning, so it doesn't matter if you work or not, because what are you going to prioritize, like your job that's paying you thousands of dollars for shooting for the day, or your minimum wage job that you're only working a couple of hours? I don't know about you, but I'm definitely taking this, and this is my priority. But I was like, I'm gonna have to make some sacrifices here and put it on the back burner and just focus on work and focus on getting money so that I can afford to do the things that I want to do later on. So I was like, you know what, let me take this job. It works at Crunch on Mondays. On Tuesdays, I worked at the golf course. Wednesdays, I worked at Crunch. Thursdays, I worked at the golf course. Fridays, I worked at Crunch. Saturdays, I was off, but I was still getting like called in on Saturdays at Crunch. And then Sundays, I worked at Crunch. So I was working every single day, with the exception of Saturday if they didn't call me in. And I was exhausted. Like I did not have a time to breathe. And even on those Tuesdays and Thursdays, I would still come into work. So like I'd get off at like 5 and then I'd have to like go in at like 7 and then I'd close at Crunch. So I had no breaks. All I was doing was working all the time, every single day, just had no time for nothing. Besides going out on Saturday nights, because I was still doing that. I was still getting trash. That was still a priority for me at the time. I just had no breathing time. And obviously I got burnt out. And so I quit the golf cart job later on. Then I ended up doing an audition in March that I actually didn't even want to go to. I was there all day, ended up booking the job, ended up meeting Chantel, who I love so much. She's my acting friend and she was there. I met her that day and her and I have been friends ever since. And so that was great. I met a great friend out of an audition. Something good did come out of March. I just had to wait. I just had to go through the hard stuff to get to that. So March was definitely a negative 1,000 and bajillion 3 out of 10, but it did end up getting better. So, okay, squeaky. April rolls around and I'm still going out every single weekend. I'm working every single day. I'm balancing like life and partying and friends. I'm still doing all this. I'm still unhappy, but I'm still making it work. In April, we ended up flying out to New York. Stayed at a great hotel, met some great people, ate some great food. We were filming, learned a lot of stuff, but I was still in this like unhappy stage, even though I was doing what I wanted to do, but it wasn't full time. Like I wasn't acting full time. I knew that once my New York trip was done, I was gonna have to come back home, and I was still gonna have to keep living the same life that I was still unhappy with. And it was just like really hard knowing where you want to be and getting like a taste of it, and then knowing that you still have to come back home and still get like have to work towards it. It's weird, but New York nonetheless was great. 2 weeks later we had to fly back in May, so New York's great. Love you New York. Then we have May. We fly back to New York for filming, and this time it was like a little different, like an audience type of deal, which is different than what I've kind of done before. Usually when you go in for auditions or you book jobs, like you're just in front of like cast, crew, wardrobe, producers, directors, whatever. This was more of like a lot of people. It was a lot harder, and we had scripts. We had pages of scripts, like packets of pages of scripts that we had to memorize. I just wasn't taking it seriously, and I was so frustrated at myself because it's like you're here doing what you want to do, and when you're given the opportunity you're still not taking it seriously. So then I'm like being super hard on myself because it's like now, like not being ungrateful, but you're just, somebody else would have taken it much more seriously. Chantel was taking it seriously. Every single other actor that auditioned and got the role and got the job and came with us to New York was taking it seriously. They knew their lines, they knew it like the back of their hand. Everybody else knew what they were doing, and I just didn't know because I just wasn't taking the time that I needed to take out to hold myself accountable and do the things that I needed to do.
I was about to take it out like an hour ago. Trying to take it out with it, but I opened my mouth and grabbed it to take it out. I felt excruciating pain.
Nonetheless, we have all this freedom to do all of these things. We each got our own hotel room that was gorgeous. And as long as you were in the makeup chair at the time you needed to be at the makeup chair, you had your wardrobe on, and you met where we needed to meet at the correct time, they didn't care what you did outside of that, right? And so I'm feeling all of this freedom, and it's like, crap, like this, I want this so bad. Like I want to be able to be in my own space and get to learn myself more and get to do all these things. And I'm getting a little taste of it. I'm taking advantage of it. I'm upset because I can't have it, and I still have to go back home and live my regular life. And I'm still hung up on dudes, like literally like still wondering, why is he ignoring me? Why doesn't he want to talk to me? Why doesn't he like me? What is wrong with me? Nobody's ever gonna love you. Like you have so much to give, and if you can give it to them and they can see that you're awesome and they still don't want you, you must be terrible. Like there was so many emotions going on, and it was just like month after month after month, it was something else. And I'm sitting here in my hotel room literally like just crying because it's like I am just so frustrated with myself. I could be doing so much better. I could be taking this so much more seriously, and I'm not. And I was like late to things and not knowing my lines and having to improvise because I didn't know what to say. And I'm sitting here talking to Chantel, and I'm like, dude, like I don't want this for myself. Like I have such big goals that I'm not taking any steps towards. Like I know that they're there, but I'm not doing anything to work towards them. Like I need to get it together. Like the summer is about to start. I'm about to be 21. The whole year for me was just making this year more different than all the years past. Kind of had this epiphany in New York. I'm sitting here like, you know what? Something's got to give and something has to change. So then in May, I meet somebody else. I don't know, it was so good. I meet somebody who I'm finally comfortable with, and for once, like I feel like I could just like relax. Like I didn't have to worry about anything. I didn't have to worry about the things that I said, the things that I did. Like I could be 110% myself, and it was great. I was like, this is perfect. This person is perfect. Like they just have just like all these great characteristics about them. Like everything was just great. And then everything was just not great, and it was like a roller coaster of emotions. It was like my first like situationship ever. Still trying to get over now. It just felt easy, it felt good, and I was happy, and things were kind of like falling more into place for me. So I was happy about it until I wasn't happy about it, obviously, but it was good, and I couldn't complain. Like I could just, you know, be me. And I think when you can be you around people and they can be themselves as well, like that's just, those connections are just very rare, and those aren't connections that you should ever really let go of. I was just, I don't know, I was hanging out with them every single day, and then I was just working and hanging out and working and working. It was great. Everything was great. It kind of ended on that note, you know, things kind of being a little rocky, but you know, it got better. So then we're at June. June rolls around. It's my mom's birthday. Things are good. I'm still hanging out with, we should give him a name. Let's just name him Randy. That's so funny. That's a funny name. Your name is Randy, I'm sorry, but like, let's just name him Randy. I'm still hanging out with Randy every single day. Tim and I, like, It's great, right? Still working, things are good. June rolls around and I meet Angie. I knew Angie from a coworker of mine. They used to hang out all the time, and I found out that Angie lived like down the street from me. And you know when you're like, oh my gosh, we need to hang out, and then you like never hang out. She was also in a relationship at the time that I was, and so it was like we only spent time with our exes. Like that's all we were doing. All we were doing was spending time with them, with nobody else. So it was like we should hang out, and then we like don't. Then I just like hit her up and we were texting and we're like, you know what, like we actually need to go out. So we plan a dinner. We go to a steakhouse, we spend $100 on steak, that was so good. We sit, we catch up, we eat, we have wine, it's great. And then we do the whole, we take pictures and we're like, oh my gosh, we need to hang out again. And I'm thinking like, okay, no, for real, like we're actually gonna hang out and I'm gonna make you my best friend. That's exactly what happened. And Angie and I hung out every single weekend after that. Her and I were like, you know what, we're gonna start going out. So we were going out to the club every weekend. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we were out. And it was great. I mean, it was fantastic. We're at June, so it's like this is the start of the summer. Angie and I were like, you know what, like we are single, we're pretty, we're young, let's go out, let's meet people, and that's literally exactly what we did.
Hello, guys.
This is
That's
Angie.
who I am.
If you follow me anywhere else other than here, which I'm assuming you do because if you're watching this is where you got it from. With her every day, she's great. I love her so much. My bestie.
So now I'm Auntie. Hi. I look crazy. I got my wisdom teeth taken out today.
Okay.
So if I look crazy and swollen and you can't understand what I'm saying and you see that there's something in my mouth, it's because there's a gauze, because I just got my wisdom teeth pulled out. Me and Jam, we are like this.
Like this. After we met, we were like, oh my gosh, let's go get a matching tattoo. Go to Ybor City on a Friday night, hit up our dude Lou.
Hello.
He tattooed our cheeks, and it was great. We're cherry sisters forever.
No, yeah, cherry sisters.
Yeah.
If you know, you know.
And if you don't, now you do.
Yeah.
Love ya.
Yeah.
So June, we're still going out. We're having fun. I get COVID because I kissed a random girl at the club. COVID was a 2020 thing, and Corona hits me in 2022. I was also developing even more feelings for Randy, and it was just not good. I'm sick. I'm in love. I can't go to work. Like it was, but I met Miss Ange. Where's she at? Hey. So July rolls around. This was when Angie and I got our tattoos. Angie and I booked a hotel on the beach for the 4th of July weekend, and it was the funnest weekend ever. Like we had our guy friends come out and we hung out and we drank and we just like, it was good. It was like our space, and just being at the beach, we took time off of work and it was great. Angie and I decided to get tickets for like this party that ended up coming to town, and we met so many people from Atlanta. It was so crazy. Like so many people from Atlanta had came down. It was so fun. Like we had this pool party. We knew nobody. We made some friends. Some girls like knew me from TikTok, so we kind of like hung out with them all day. We went to a party at night. Like the whole day was just a vibe with all these strangers that we didn't even know. Angie and I, we've just been doing things that we wanted to do, even though we didn't know people or we didn't know the places we were going to, but because we had each other, that was fine. And it's like, I think we both kind of realized that until you put yourself out there and until you step out of your comfort zone a little bit, like you're not gonna meet the people, you're not gonna make the connections, you're not gonna know what you like, what you don't like. That's kind of like what the whole summer was about. End of July, had to say bye to Randy. Time for him to go back to school and do his thing. That was a very hard time for me. And like the whole summer with somebody and then just having to say goodbye. Goodbyes are just hard in general. I was trying to distract myself, but it just wasn't working. It just felt like I was just being like ripped apart. Like from the inside, it wasn't something that I wanted to do, but it was something that kind of had to happen and kind of like shaped me for what I have going on right now. So I was very happy about that. August, still going out. Wasn't going out to get away from anything. I was just going out because I wanted to and because I genuinely liked to and because I had genuine friends and take care of each other. It was just fun. As opposed to when I was doing it before, it was just like, don't want to feel what I'm feeling. Let's go out, let's go drink, let's go get crazy. This time was just like, you know, it's the summer, last summer as a 20-year-old, like let's get woo. Things with Mr. Randy, they ended. Things with Randy ended. And it kind of took me by surprise. It was very like abrupt. It was very overnight. I think that I told myself that somebody who wants to be in my life, who doesn't want to lose me as a friend, as a person, as a connection, whatever, they're not going to put themselves in a position to lose me. So having them put themselves in that position, I was like, that just speaks a lot of volume. And that doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with me. That doesn't mean that there's anything wrong you know, like I did anything wrong. People are going to project themselves onto you. I was kind of learning that lesson. And so what was I doing? Right back in the gym. Look my best self. I'm gonna feel my best. Me in the gym, we were going hard. I was seeing results. I'm still seeing results. And I was like, this is the kind of life that I want. Like, I'm gonna start doing what I need to get done and stop letting my emotions on how I feel about other people and how other people are making me feel like stop me from doing the things that I know I should be doing, because we're just gonna be right back in this cycle of I hate my life and I hate what I'm doing and all this stuff. So August was like every other month, a shit show. The biggest thing that happened for me in August was kind of realize that I wanted to leave home. I wanted to kind of pursue my acting elsewhere. And I was like, you know what, I need to be where it's at, and that's what I want to do. I talked to Angie and I was like, hey, like, how do you feel about just moving? Like, how do you feel about moving? We paid for it, and that is where I'm sitting right now. This was like a blind move, which is absolutely insane, but it was kind of crazy. But I was like, you know what, screw it, like, let's do it. We're young, like, why not? We have nothing holding us back. We have no job holding us back because she can obviously bring hers with her. We don't have any kids. We don't have like a husband. We don't have a family. Like, we don't have anything that's holding us back, and we're young. Like, this is the time to do it, right? September rolls around. September 15th was my 21st birthday. So I was like, you know what, like, this year I really want to go out with a bang, and I want to be surrounded with people that love me and I love them, and just have a good time. And especially because I knew that we were leaving shortly after in October, I decided to like go big or go home, and I went big. For the first time, it just was like, wow, like I have all of this love and I have all these people that do care about me. And I think that having those emotions and those feelings that I had in September, and being surrounded by so much love and so many relationships that I care about and people that care about me, versus how I was feeling back in March, like, it really just showed me that I just came a long way. I was fortunate enough to have people show up for me, and you know, when those connections are genuine and they're real, like, people will come out and they will be there to support you. September nonetheless was great, and I got to spend it with all my friends, and I was really happy about that. October rolls around. It was a time of just kind of like spending those last few moments with our friends and saying goodbye to everybody, and spending more time with my mom and with my dog, and you know, like, seeing my family, and just really just being present in those moments, because I knew that they were going to end soon. Not that they were going to end forever, but they were going to end for the moment, because I was feeling like I needed to take that leap of faith. Here we are. Today is Tuesday, and on Friday I moved in, and everything is moved in, and our place is super cute, and I'm so blessed and I'm so fortunate to be here. I'm so happy that Angie decided to come with me. You know, I think it's really big for somebody to be like, you know what, I'm gonna leave everything that I have at home as well and drop it and just come live in a completely new place. I'm so appreciative of her, and I'm so blessed to have her. Now here we are, and today I had to take her to go get her tooth pulled, but it was cool because while we were waiting, we got to like explore the city a little bit, and they have like so many parks here, and you know, we got to see some things, which is really nice. They have like, you know, leaves are changing colors, and it's just very peaceful, and it's very nice, and I honestly love it here. So yeah, so overall the year has been so many ups and downs, but I'm so blessed and I'm so grateful to be here where I'm at right now. I felt like once I made that decision to take that leap of faith, everything else kind of fell into place. I was born in Puerto Rico, raised in Florida, back and forth in Puerto Rico. I've always known that I didn't want to stay in the same place forever, and I'm somebody who gets bored like very easily, and I feel like there's so much of the world to see, and there's so many people to meet and connections to make, that you shouldn't stay stagnant forever. And if you have the chance and you have the opportunity to pick up your stuff and go, then go. There's always going to be a job where you go. There's always going to be people to meet, and you shouldn't let people or opinions or just anything like hold you back. And there's never going to be a perfect time for you to pick up your stuff and go and make those changes and take that leap of faith. You literally just have to do it. I'm so happy that I did. It's been like 5 days, and I already feel like, you know, this is what I was supposed to do. And even if I'm not supposed to be here forever, I at least get the experience, and I get the exposure, and I get to, you know, like, meet all these people that I keep wanting to meet. I think something else that I kind of learned this year was it's okay to let go of things that you feel like are not serving you anymore. You feel like it's just not benefiting you anymore, and those people are constantly hurting you, and you are so just confused and lost and sad. Like, you do need to step away to look at the grand scheme of things and see what things are actually about, and kind of realize like what are things that are important to you, what do you care about. And I'm happy that I was able to do that. I think that was a very hard decision for me to, you know, like, leave something earlier this year and just jump into other things. You should continue to put yourself out there with new friends and with new people, people that you like and people that you know, kind of want to take a chance on. And I'm so happy that I didn't let negative experiences and you know, bad things that happened to me affect the way that I treated others. You know, I think that, you know, leading with love is so important, even if, you know, people don't deserve it. Working on yourself and giving yourself that love and still giving those love to other people regardless of how they feel about you is super, super important. And I'm happy that I was able to do that, even though, you know, things like didn't end up in my favor. You know, like sad about things that happened like the summer. Regardless of what you're going through, you should always kind of look at the positive and stuff, which I think Angie and I are trying to do here. We're trying to look at the positive. Like it was like 35 degrees this morning, but there's orange leaves outside and they're blowing in the wind and it's sunny and we're alive and we woke up this morning. Like there's so much to be grateful for and there's so much to be happy about, and when you focus on the negative, then the negative is what's going to keep coming. I've realized a lot. 2022 has been insane, but I'm 21 now, bought a car, I moved out, about to get a job, took a leap of faith that I never thought I would, moved to a completely different state that I've never been to before. So thanks so much for watching. Love you so much. Keep living, keep breathing, be grateful. Tell people that you love them regardless. Take those leaps of faith. If you like someone, let them know. Life is short. But yeah, hope everyone's doing fantastic.